Boxing truth here. Still no word if Nicholas Walters is going to sign off on this potential bout with Vasyl Lomachenko for a June date in New York. But time is running out as another opponent has already emerged as a potential foe for Lomachenko, because the June 11th date is Lomachenko's date to be on. He will fight on that date with or without Nicholas Walters. So Nicholas Walters needs to decide if he's going to accept a potential career-high payday, considering the offer Lomachenko's team had put in place in order to entice Walters to take the fight. Now, according to Lomachenko's team, Walters is upset with the money. He's not particularly enthused with the purse offer he's gotten for the fight. I can't say for sure what exactly is the biggest purse Nicholas Walters has ever gotten in his career. I've read a report where he received $450K for his fight with Miguel Mariaga, but he had to give 100 of it away because he couldn't make weight. So the purse that Lomachenko's team stated, Lomachenko's manager stated to the press, was $500K that Walters was going to get for a potential fight in June against Lomachenko. Now, they put another offer in place that if Walters beats Lomachenko, Lomachenko will personally take out $300K of his own purse, give it to the promoter to pay to Walters, and include it in with his guaranteed prize money, and an extra $300K if he can even defeat Lomachenko. All he has to do is win the fight. The true definition of prize fighting. Fair offer, wouldn't you agree? But we haven't heard a peep from Walters' team or Walters himself. It's not looking good. Doesn't seem like the fight is gonna happen. It's a shame. It's this fight's been longly awaited, anticipated for over the past year. They were supposed to fight last year when they were both belt holders in the 126-pound division. Would have been a really big unification fight. Not a big money fight, but it would have been a big fight among boxing circles, because unfortunately these two guys are not big draws. Nicholas Walters couldn't fill out a phone booth. Lomachenko is still building his brand, but there's upside for Lomachenko if he wins. So Top Rank is trying to get him this fight, but it's becoming a difficult negotiation process because Walters was expecting seven-figure type money for this assignment against Lomachenko, but the money is just not there. The TV money that Top Rank got from HBO wasn't as much as they expected. And there's been rumors for over the past year that Nicholas Walters was trying to break away from Top Rank, wanted to sign with PBC and Al Heyman because of the purses he heard some of his the fighters in the same weight class were getting. I mean, look at the purses Abner Mars and Leo Santa Cruz got for their fight together, over 7 figures. And that was at a point when PBC was, filled with a lot of money. I mean, their employees are flying in private jets, high class, A-class shit, coming into the fights, the hotels, the private jets, the purses, monies, even some of Al Heyman's B-sides were getting. Like, it's crazy. Some of the purses some of the fighters got. I mean, the guys that couldn't freaking fill out a small ballroom in New York were getting 7-figure purses. But the purses are what they are. That's the reality in today's boxing market for fighters like a Walters, a Lomachenko, guys that don't have that a strong fan bases, can't fill out venues, then that's the type of money you're gonna get. Bob Arum is not getting money thrown at him by Wilder and Reed, so he can't overpay his guys. He has to give them what they can. And Al Heyman, well, nowadays, they've cut back on the private jets because they've spent a lot of money. The purses are gonna go back down to reality, because just look at the purses of Al Heyman's fighters before Wilder and Reed gave him that hedge fund. There was the same type of purses that all the fighters were getting. They weren't making seven figures. None of his fighters were making seven figures, besides Mayweather. Maybe a couple of others. I'm on the top of my head, I can't think of any. But before Wilder and Reed came into the picture for Al Heyman, I don't think besides Mayweather, who else was making seven figures? I can't think of any right now. Maybe nobody. I don't know. Maybe y'all can tell me who was making seven figures before Wilder, an Al Heyman client making seven figures besides Mayweather before Wilder and Reed. Maybe Broner. I don't know. I can't tell you at the top of my head. But that's just the reality of the situation. Al Heyman is getting borrowed money to overpay his fighters. Well, a hedge fund type of money. And Arum is paying him what he can pay them based off the license fees provided by HBO and what the money can generate at the gate, sponsors and all that shit. What an actual promoter does, try to make money off an event, make a little profit. But for this fight, Arum's willing to take a slight loss just to make the fight happen. But time is running out for Nicholas Walters. It's not looking too good. This could be his potential biggest payday if Lomachenko is true on his word that he will give Walters $300K of his own purse money, in order to make this fight happen. If Walters can beat Lomachenko, but another opponent has emerged for Lomachenko. Roman Martinez is now being discussed because time is running out. It's already the first week of April. The fight's in June, on June 11th. It's right around the corner. It's Lomachenko's date, so if Walters doesn't sign off on the fight, he's going to be on the shelf. He's going to have nothing else to look forward to, because they're going to have to try to find him a date now. So he might have to wait another month, maybe 2 months, maybe until September, until he gets back in the ring. So is it ideal for him to turn down this fight and what could be his biggest purse out there, potentially, or maybe perhaps sit another 2 months before they find a date for him, and against an opponent that's not going to bring the same type of purse that maybe he desires, or maybe, I don't know. So Walters needs to make up his mind. Does he want this fight with Lomachenko? It's a tough fight. Lomachenko's very strong for his size. He has better footwork, better boxing ability, more skill. Walters could get trashed, but he does have the size and the power to stay in there with Lomachenko. He does have the physicality, the size to perhaps turn the bout in his favor, but he can be outboxed and he can get schooled by Lomachenko. And for lower than seven-figure type money purse, to him maybe it's not worth it. But if not Nicholas Walters, Lomachenko will move on perhaps to an opponent that makes sense in Roman Martinez, because this fight on June 11th is in New York, right before the Puerto Rican Day parade. Roman Martinez is Puerto Rican, so it makes sense to have a Puerto Rican in the headliner, because Lomachenko will be the main event. But it could be some issues to making this fight happen. Martinez is currently the WBO champion at 130. Lomachenko, he's the WBO champion at 126. But Martinez has a mandatory defense due against this guy named Miguel Burchak. He's now the interim titleist, and he's expecting Burchak, the interim champ for WBO at 130. He's expecting WBO to do the right thing. and to enforce the mandatory, so Burchard can get the opportunity for the full world title. But the WBO may go into another direction. They may sanction the bout between Lomachenko, who's the world titleist for the WBO at 126, and they might put Lomachenko as the number one contender for Roman Martinez, because according to WBO rules, they could allow a champion with the same organization from a different weight class to move up and automatically become the number one contender and get a first shot at the full world WBO title at 130. So, and also Top Rank is in cahoots with WBO. They can use their influence, the relationship they have with WBO, and have them sanction a bout with Lomachenko and Roman Martinez, considering the WBO perhaps will get a much bigger sanctioning fee if they sanction this bout instead of a bout with Miguel Burchard, the WBO interim titleist. So it's very possible WBO will pull some strings to make the fight happen and not make a Roman Martinez make that mandatory defense against his interim titleist, Burchard. So that fight is definitely doable. Martinez most likely will be able to go for June. Makes sense. Puerto Rican, New York, main event. Perhaps they'll be able to sell some tickets because of the Puerto Rican and Martinez as the main event headliner. So Walters has to decide, and I expect an announcement very, very shortly, maybe within this week, the end of this week, or early next week. And if Walters doesn't take the fight, turns it down because of the money, would y'all consider it a duck? Y'all let me know what y'all think. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.